Brazil's former president, Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, has been given a government cabinet position. Hundreds of thousands of Brazilians held protests across the country after President Dilma Rousseff announced the appointment. They believe the decision is meant to protect Lula from prosecution in a corruption case. Well, for more on the fallout, the appointment, and what this could all mean for Brazil's two embattled political figures, we're joined by Anelise Borges. So, Anelise, he got the job as expected, and then this tape comes out. How damaging is it? Is it really that smoking gun evidence that confirms she is shielding him?
Well, the opposition says yes, absolutely. The fact that she used that sentence, in case of necessity, will bring this document in case of necessity, means that she's trying to protect Lula da Silva from persecution. But that is, again, according to the political opposition, this big group of politicians who are trying to get rid of Dilma Rousseff. The Workers' Party, members of her ruling Workers' Party, say that Lula da Silva is the only man capable of saving Dilma at the moment. He's the only politician skilled enough to try to negotiate with the main coalition partners to try and avoid that impeachment. Dilma is facing an impeachment procedure in Congress. It has nothing to do with the Petrobras scandal. She's facing an impeachment process for masking the budget deficit in the beginning of her second term. And the ruling party says the only way to avoid this now, and this could be sorted out in the next 2 months, this procedure could go relatively fast. The only way to do this is by bringing Lula in. They say this is a political strategy. They've been working on this for months, and the timing, of course, is really bad because Lula has just been accused of fraud and money laundering for concealing the ownership of that flat.
And just finally, before we move on, this won't give him total immunity. It still goes to the Supreme Federal Tribunal, right? But that has a lot of traffic.
Absolutely.
To get to that?
Absolutely. Well, this move does not shield Lula completely, but as a minister, he can still be tried by Brazil's Supreme Court. But this will help him gain some time, and perhaps the fact that he's now trying to negotiate Dilma to stay in power will get him a little bit more credit again. Lula is still seen as a skilled politician in Brazil by pretty much everyone on the political spectrum. And of course, he's part of this. He's been involved recently in this Petrobras kickback scheme. This is considered Brazil's biggest corruption scandal to date. We've got members of both sides, the opposition and the ruling Workers' Party, involved in this scandal. So it's really hard now. It's going to be really hard for Brazil to try and differentiate who was guilty and who was not. And that is what prosecutors are trying to investigate and trying to look into it. But they're looking into firms, businessmen, and the corrupt politicians who allegedly received bribes in order to secure contracts with Petrobras. But we have several dozens of people involved in this scandal, and it's going to be very complicated to sort this out in the next 2 months, which is the time that this commission, which is supposed to be set up by Friday by the opposition to impeach Dilma, they have 2 months to try and sort out this impeachment process. So again, the next few weeks will be decisive in Brazil, and a lot is at stake.
Yeah, a lot is at stake indeed. Anelise, thanks a lot for contextualizing that for us.